I'll be very brief because I think all the main speakers have, said a lot of very important things to say, and I'm very thankful to them for, making the time, right from Bela, who laid the ground and, told us what's happening there, to all the political leaders who, came and voiced in support of the talks. I want to just basically make 2 or 3 points as a writer. I'll be absolutely brief and, not take anybody's time. The first thing is that, just like we heard so many stories of how, Adivasi people are living in this absolute terror, and why you don't hear larger voices or more noise coming out because of, the fear of being branded terrorist, Maowadi. I think that another community that's, similarly afflicted and similarly silenced is the artists and the writers and the journalists in this country, which is why, I mean, it may sound like a very small thing, but at no other point in Indian history have we seen such a level of silence when so many lives are at stake, when so many militarized operations are going on against the people of our own country. And I think that in many ways, since 2018, since Bhima Koregaon, there has been an effort to, ensure that this culture of silence is established. And having established this silence through calling people urban Naxal, through calling people like, calling them Andolan Jivi or whatever it is, the smallest noise that comes from speaking out becomes branded. And therefore, today what we see, and what even Sashikant Sendil said, we need more emotion, we need more messaging, we need to reach larger amounts of people. But why is it that, let's say we see more about Gaza on our timeline, we see more about, other instances of war on our timeline, and we see very little about what is happening in Bastar? And I think the reason for this is that we have all embraced, or we have been put into this position of, accepting silence. And I think that has to really break, that has to that, more and more of us have to speak out. And obviously our positionality is as complete outsiders to this struggle. That's why the voices of Manish, the voices of Bela, the voice of Nandini, the voice of Soni, all of these are really, intrinsic to what is happening inside Bastar. At the same time, I think the rest of us have to keep this noise going on to allow the pressure to build up. So having said that, there are a couple of things that I want to say. The first is that we have to understand, another thing is that journalism in this country is very defeatist. That if you read the journals today, like, India Today did this whole cover story on how, showing Amit Shah in this cowboy hat, and, the Prime Minister and some other similar military getup, and they are so celebratory. They are basically celebrating death. So we have moved from a situation where journalism was doing the critical task of telling people, look at atrocity, look at killings, look at human rights violations, look at occupation, look at siege, and look at suffering. Instead, we have gone to become, a culture of embedded journalism. We have gone to become a culture that, celebrates death. And this celebration of death is like, is at every level that we see, because on the one level they are incentivizing killings, they are incentivizing encounters. There's a bounty for every person who is killed, every body that is produced, and these numbers are trotted out like they're successes. So it's not anymore, so today there are 35 Naxals killed, the other day there was 25 Naxals killed. It's just a question of headlines. And I think this kind of headline management, this kind of celebratory thing can hurt us a lot, but also set us back a lot, because on the one hand it gives you the impression that the state is winning or the state forces are winning, but on the other hand the question is, at what cost is it happening? At what cost to lives is it happening? At what cost to Adivasi lives is it happening? At what cost to women's freedoms it's happening? And at what cost to, questions of rape, torture, and other custodial violence that it's happening. So I think that one of the things that we can, do at this moment is that this broader paradigm of painting urban Naxal as, soft terrorist and Naxalite, painting urban Naxal as soft terrorist, or, terrorist, overground terrorist, or whatever it is that is happening, has been to silence us. By calling us urban Naxal, they have silenced us from talking about what is happening to the real Naxals, or whoever are considered the real Naxal. And I think we have to break that. We have to say that even if it is an Naxal you're talking about, talk to them. It's not somebody that you can just kill. The constitution does not allow you to just kill somebody because you assume they're Naxalite. And I think that at this point, especially when CPI Maoist seems to have called for ceasefire, and there have been repetitive measures calling for peace and dialogue, we have to understand that this is a political problem, and this is a problem of fighting corporations or fighting militarization, fighting whatever it is, and therefore we need a political solution. And if we are interested in preserving the democracy that we have as a society, that we indulge in dialogue, and we support or call for the state to indulge in dialogue, because it's a question of recalibrating our responses. Just because something comes under the banner of terror, or how the state defines terror, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that anything can be done to that entity or people or anyone. And this is a response that should not allow for Bastar to become a killing field, because today we also observe that it's expanding. It's no longer just Bastar, it's expanding to Jharkhand, it's expanding to Telangana. And this is quite a serious situation. So I think that I think all the efforts are in the right way, but I also believe that so much more noise has to come in the public domain for a broader consensus among the people, and to understand that whether it's peaceful resistance or armed resistance or whatever form that resistance can take, at the end of it, everything has to move towards talks, everything has to move towards dialogue, because that's the only way we find solutions. I'm done. Sorry.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मीना। हमारे हिंदी भाषी साथी जो बड़ी संख्या में जुड़े हैं, मैं बहुत जल्दी आपको बात रखूं, बहुत फतेह की बातें रखी, इससे बहुत जरूरी है एक एक हमारा जो वक्ता है उनकी बात सुनने का समय है। आपने कहा है कि देखिए ये आज जो माहौल बना है ये आज का नहीं है, जब से ये सरकार आई है, और खास तौर से जब भीमा कोरेगांव की शुरुआत करी 2018 से, और उसके पहले भी शुरू कर दिया था, हमें अब नक्सल कह के, आंदोलन जीवी कह के, इस तरीके से कह के हम पर मजाक करना, हमको डिस्क्रेडिट करना, हमको चुप करना, ये इन्होंने तरीके अपनाए। एक तरफ हमने ये सारा देखा, और दूसरी तरफ जो मीडिया पूरा लगा हुआ है वो, और सरकार खुद इस वक्त जो अन्य स्पीकर्स ने भी कहा कि एक जश्न और उत्सव के रूप में मौतों को, हत्याओं को प्रस्तुत कर रही है। और हम ये केवल इस मसले में ही नहीं देख रहे हैं, हम रोज हर मसले में देख रहे हैं कि केवल एक उत्सव और जश्न ही नहीं, साथ साथ जो पैसे हम इतना देंगे, एक सरकार कहती है हम इतना देंगे, हम इतना देंगे, और ये हेडलाइंस बनता जाता है। और ये केवल एक आंकड़ा कि इतनी मौतें, इतनी हत्याएं तक नहीं है, पर ये एक बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक है। ये हमको धकेलता है इस तरीके का एक पूरा एटीट्यूड, और ये एक तरीके से सरकार को लग रहा है कि वो जीत रही है, वो बिल्कुल भी नहीं जीत रही है इन सब चीजों से, बल्कि इस तरीके से वो देश को और खोखला कर रही है, लोगों के दिमागों को और खोखला कर रही है। और इसलिए बहुत जरूरी है कि मानवता को भी खड़ा रखने के लिए हमें अंदर घुसना होगा। और जैसे सेंथिल ने कहा था कि हमें लोगों की मानवता को उजागर करना है, कि इमोशनल कैंपेन, एक भावुक अभियान, जिससे हम लोगों की मानवता को आगे लाएं। अर्बन नक्सल को अगर उन्होंने सॉफ्ट टेररिस्ट कह दिया है, क्योंकि वो एक और को बहुत ही हार्ड, बहुत ही एक तरीके से क्रूर, एक बहुत ही राक्षसी स्वरूप देना चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो जितना भी ये स्वरूप दे, वो एक देश के संविधान से बंधे हुए हैं, और देश का संविधान उनको मारकाट करने के लिए बिल्कुल भी मौका नहीं देता है। तो जब हम ये लड़ाई में लगे हैं, तो हमें इसलिए भी लड़ना है क्योंकि हम इन कॉरपोरेटों से लड़ रहे हैं। ये लड़ाई दरअसल कॉरपोरेटों को धकेलने की भी है, और हमें अपनी सरकार से कहना होगा कि ये लड़ाई उस बारे में भी है, ये लड़ाई इस बारे में भी है कि हमें लोगों को की जान बचानी है, और हमें एक राजनीतिक संवाद के लिए बैठना है, और सरकार को कहना है कि आपको ये राजनीतिक डायलॉग करना होगा। और बस्तर को और ज्यादा एक तरीके से मैदान, हत्याओं का मैदान, मौतों का मैदान और नहीं बनना चाहिए। हम जितना जनता के बीच में इस अभियान को ले जाएं, हर तरीके से उनकी मानवता उजागर करते करते हुए, उतना हम लोग कुछ आगे बढ़ पाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।